Hey, I'm NichBoy and welcome to Pocket for Wednesday, the 6th of April. Today on the show, watch before you buy, a blind Axeman, and some god-awful games. Oh, and welcome back to April. Alright, here's what's been making headlines. Wargaming has donated an Australian-built World War II tank to a Cairns museum. Only 65 Australia cruisers, or Sentinels, were built during the war, though none ever saw combat. Now, fewer than 6 Sentinels remain, as the rest were scrapped or turned into tractors. Like neutering a proud bull. Wargaming acquired the tank in 2014, and just before Easter, they donated it to Cairns' Australian Armour and Artillery Museum. The donation coincided with the release of the Sentinel Tank in-game. At last, the tanks will rise from the wheat fields of outback Australia. At last, they will satiate their violent lust. PlayStation's next big update will start rolling out overnight. This patch will introduce a new live streaming channel and improvements to the social networking features, but it also includes the PC remote play functionality which entered the beta phase last month. The update will allow PlayStation 4 owners to stream games over their home network to any personal computer running Windows 8.1 or higher, or OS X 10.10 or higher. Aussie studio Defiant Development have officially announced a sequel to last year's Hand of Fate. Hand of Fate 2 will build upon the first game's interesting blend of card game cross-action RPG, but will place more of an emphasis on good strategic deck building before entering real-time skirmishes. And Valve have teased a Vive VR spectator mode for Dota 2! Dota! The VR app places you in a cinematic Dota-themed space and presumably will allow you to spectate any match as the game client already allows. The space has 3D visualizations for each competing character and a map to watch player movements from a strategic bird's-eye perspective. I'm joined now by a very stressed-out bird to discuss our final news story. New research from the NPD group has suggested that people's purchasing decisions are heavily influenced by the games they watch people play. Goosey,
Nikki.
are you surprised by this?
Not at all.
No.
No, because this is how they get information about their games.
This is the modern day magazine.
Exactly, the modern day box art poster at the game store. Game stores don't exist anymore. It's basically, if you're going to be interested in a game, you're going to consume some form of media online, be it a let's play, be it a extended first 15-minute trailer.
Video review.
Exactly,
Yeah.
You're going to see something online in video format of this game before you play it. And so I think that statistic should probably be higher, but obviously they're gearing it towards seeing other people play the game, which is something probably more akin to Twitch.
Yeah.
Which, look, I think that is something that a lot of people might do. I don't do it personally. Do you?
I mean, I watch lots of Twitch stuff, but generally I've already made up my mind about a game. I definitely think it's part of our job.
Yeah,
where I just go,
that's
I'm
fair.
kind of aware of most of the stuff, so and probably already played it, so you know, there's not this sort of like, oh, I wonder what this game is.
I guess I can put myself back in time to being a school kid, saving up for a certain game and being like, before I can buy that game, I just want to consume as much of it as possible. I guess if I was a kid now, I would probably be on Twitch every night, watching every game I couldn't afford or didn't have to play.
Yeah.
Because that would be the only way I could vicariously enjoy it.
But now you're not. You're a fake man.
That's true.
Now, a big part of the focus of this this survey and this study was actually on esports.
Okay.
And it went on to say that watchers of esports tend to focus first on spectating the game they like best, not the size of the tournament or its prize pool. So they're actually coming to the game to be inspired by something they like and not just for the spectacle.
Yeah, I am worried a bit though, because this statistic over esports certainly makes sense, but I think it can't just be used as sort of a blanket statistic over all games, because recently the developer from That Dragon Cancer, Ryan Green,
Yes.
he came out and said that he believes that people streaming his game in particular, which is a shorter, story-focused game, completely ruined his sales, and they've barely seen $1 from their actual sales after they've gone through production costs. So it's actually hurt their game quite substantially.
Interesting. That sounds like it could be a good IMO topic for you maybe next week. All right, time for Thing of the Day. Jeremy Durand live streams himself playing Guitar Hero 3. After spending a decade with the game, he's managed to get quite good, even with a blindfold on.
We're rolling. Oh my god, I did it! Oh my god! Oh my God, I did it! Yes!
I'm rarely impressed by things anymore because I'm dead inside, but that was truly impressive. Not least of which because that guy was pretty much just Baby Sam. Alright, it's talk through time where you suggest a topic and we talk through it. Today's topic comes in from Travesty James, who says, what terrible games do you secretly love? Ooh. Goose? Shame yourself.
I've got a few. Mine are all from back in the day when I think first had an original Xbox or a 360 because I wanted to play everything.
Yep.
And one of the games I played was Rapala Pro Fishing.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was fun.
Was it?
Well, it was this it was a salmon fishing simulator, and you got to choose where
Just
you put the
salmon?
boat. I think so. I don't know. And it was like you got to you had the whole lake, and you got to sort of pop your boat out where you wanted to sit, and you could just sort of fish, and you could try and find bigger fish, and it was just I really got a kick out of it. I don't know why, and I was kind of ashamed every time I booted it up because it had such a sort of calm loading screen, and it was just like this guy fishing on a boat. I'm like, I should be doing this in real life, really.
I do feel like there is a stigma attached to fishing games that does not apply to most other games.
No,
where you go, it's like, you could just so easily go and do this,
yeah,
and you're doing the fake version of this thing. More so than really any.
You can't look underwater in real life, and you can't actually see where the fish are and try and jiggle your hook and try and get it there, and I could do that. So I was not ashamed playing that.
You should be. So for me, mine are much more recent. I am ashamed at how much time I put into Honey Pop. I am genuinely ashamed as a human, as a man. That game mechanically I feel is strong, but I just go, I should not be playing this game.
Is that match 3 system though? Isn't that in another game you could be playing instead without all the sort of sorted...
So this is actually what I'm going to put out to the audience, right? Because here's the problem. Honeycam Studio is about to come out, which is the sequel to that game.
Oh, dear.
Which is even... They've abandoned all pretense that this isn't about just watching, pretty much naked women do things. I need you to suggest a game that has as deep as a match 3 sort of simulator system, or I believe that one might even be operating like a Sims-style village, but I don't want to play The Sims. I need a suggestion for a game to replace that so I don't get sucked down that hole again. I need it, because I can't, guys. My shame can't take it. And then the other game that I'm playing at the moment, which I am really ashamed of, but I'm still playing, is Doomsday Clicker on my phone. So, Cookie
Is that one
Clicker,
of those... Oh, really?
Yeah, and so...
There's no skill, you just...
But here's the thing, mate. Here's the thing. I beat Cookie Clicker. And I know you say, oh, you can't beat Cookie Clicker. Yes, I did. Because I got to the point where I was making infinite cookies. It couldn't... I was doing so well that the game could not make up a number fast enough for the amount of cookies my company was producing. So I beat the game. Did you beat Cookie Clicker?
No, but
Did you?
I feel less shame for my fishing game.
Yeah, you probably
now.
should. Doomsday Clicker is all of that, but worse, because part of the mechanic is you just put money into building up underground bunker rooms because you survive the apocalypse. And then you have people come down into those rooms, and you're just hitting money to increase the amount of people there. And then there's a doomsday button that you hit, and it blows up your whole bunker, so you need to start from scratch, but your people turn into mutants, which gives you more percentage income per second. So part of the game is building it up and then just blowing everything up and starting the game again. and I checked it, I've blown it up 17 times.
Good God.
I'm stuck, guys, help. So to lessen my shame, I went around the office and I asked some people what games they're ashamed of. Pete was ashamed of playing Flappy Bird so much.
Ooh, yeah. And you got good at that.
Did he?
I was alright.
Yeah? I wasn't here at that time, but
John was better.
John was better, right, okay. And John was ashamed of playing Desert Golf.
Ah.
I don't necessarily think that that's a bad game, but I do think it's insidious.
I don't think it's that it's a bad game. I think it's that how often I saw John playing that game.
Yeah.
It was like he would walk into things and he was just like, he would be consuming his lunch and playing that game or editing and playing that game. And it was like, John, just put it down.
John weirdly gets into mobile games in a very strange, deep, terrifying way.
Yeah.
Gog was ashamed of playing Earth Defense Force.
Oh, but that game was meant to be bad. Like, it was a C movie, kind of like schlock monster. Like, I love that game too, but I think I only hired it because I knew how embarrassingly sort of thin of a mechanic there was there.
And you wouldn't necessarily be ashamed of telling people about it. Because
No.
you go, I went into this knowing what it is.
You look at the cover art and the title of the game. It is meant to be a bit of a joke.
Yeah, and Barjo had kind of the same thing with Duke Nukem Forever.
Oh.
But he's not so much ashamed of it.
No.
He played it and he really enjoyed it. But Hex Hex is ashamed of her time with Sims Social.
Oh.
And so this was a Facebook version of The Sims.
Oh, wow.
Super pared down.
Because Sims already, for me, has a bit of shame attached to it. Because, again, like the fishing game, I should be living my real life rather than this virtual one. But a Facebook version of Sims sounds even worse.
Yeah, and it had that terrible thing where if you recommend this game to your friends, you get more money.
No.
And so she did that a couple of times, but then didn't want to keep bugging her friends, but apparently needed to build a library. And she wanted to build this library because everyone else had a really nice library, but the bookshelves she wanted were really expensive, so she ended up sinking about $40 into the game to buy fake bookshelves for this fake library.
This sounds like something you would be saying in therapy, I think.
Yeah, totally. I feel like it explains a lot. And then I moved on, and I actually put this question out a couple of days ago to the viewers to see what they're ashamed of. So we've got some answers here. Captain Milk was ashamed of Lost Planet 2 got a bad rap, but I love that game.
Yeah.
I never actually played Lost Planet 2, but I feel like Earth Defense Force is kind of, it was that kind of like going into something knowing that it's bad.
Oh no, I think that game took itself a bit more seriously. I just think compared to how great the first one was, it was seen as a bit of a subpar sequel. And so to say you love that one as well, I think might have copped a bit of flack as well.
Right.
But it was still a solid game. BMAC TLDR says, not a game, but a movie. So already,
You've
you're
already
off topic.
failed.
But Cutthroat Island. It's so bad, but I can't not sit down and watch it if it's on.
Interesting.
Right. Well, thanks for that.
Yeah, we'll pretend we didn't read that one out. Joe Thornley says, I like to play Sleeping or Dead when I see an old person in a parked car. So things got dark.
Oh, dear. All right. Kira Owens says, Elder Scrolls Online.
You're dead to me, Kira.
Then says, I'm sorry.
Yeah, as you should be. And finally, Indie Mouse says Destiny. And then follows it up with, just kidding, I don't play Destiny. So that's
It's not
pretty good
really
Destiny burn.
proper input,
No.
is it?
No, I feel
We've
like...
had a movie, a
Yeah.
joke,
Yeah.
and someone else who's apologized.
I reckon ESO is the only one there that technically answers the question.
Yeah.
But I reject its premise that ESO is even a game.
And I could add on quickly that MMOs, sometimes there is a bit of shame attached to how much time you put into them.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think. Similar to The Sims, it's sometimes you can lose yourself in them, and you can come out of that feeling a little shameful.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they're solid games, so...
But we would like you to shame yourselves on the internet for all of our amusement. Please let us know in the comments what games you secretly love but are terribly ashamed of. And while you're on the internet, check out Good Game on Facebook, YouTube, and iView. Want to meet fellow Pocketeers? Then join the Pocketeers Facebook group and Steam group. You can follow Good Game on Twitter at Good Game TV, follow Pocket at NichBoy, at Pierre, at GG, at Monkey, and at Sam Gee. He's at Goose Mangus, and there are links to everything I just said in the description below. Today's Thing of the Day graphic was made by Simon Vin, and it's his 4th submission.
Ooh, go Simon.
Go Simon indeed, and it ties in very nicely with this afternoon's first play video of Uncharted 4, so keep an eye out for that. Until tomorrow, bye.
Goose out.